On the news, FCTA set to demolish more than 500 structures in Dusangarki in Apo district. And from the foreign scene, Singapore police arrest 10 foreigners for money laundering. A very good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on the news at 1 on NTA Channel 5 Abuja, the Unity Station. I am Ifoma Ojenta. President Bola Tinubu assigns ministerial portfolios with Nyesom Wike as FCT Minister. Details with Abdullahi Ajia.
The full list of ministers under portfolios are Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Bosun Tijani; Minister of State Environment and Ecological Management, Ishaq Salako; Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun; Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Bomi Tunji; Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu; Minister of State, Health and Social Welfare, Tunji Alausa; Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake; Minister of Tourism, Lola Adichon; Minister of Transportation, Adeboyiga Oyetola; Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Doris Anitai; Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, Uche Naji; Minister of State, Labor and Employment, Nkiruka Onyejocha; Minister of Women Affairs, Uju Kennedy; Minister of Works, David Umahi; Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo; Minister of Youth, Abubakar Momo; Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Betta Edu; Minister of State, Gas Resources, Ekberikpe Ekpo; Minister of State Petroleum Resources, Heniken Lokobiri; Minister of Sports Development, John Eno; Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike; Minister of Arts, Culture and Decorative Economy, Hannatu Musawa; Minister of Defense, Mohammed Badaru; Minister of State Defense, Bello Matawalle; Minister of State Education, Yusuf T. Sunumu; Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Ahmed Engiwa; Minister of State, Housing and Urban Development, Abdullahi Gwarzo; Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Atiku Bagudu; Minister of Environment and Ecological Management, Reserve for Kaduna; Minister of State, Federal Capital Territory, Mairiga Mahmoud; Minister of State Water Resources and Sanitation, Bello M. Gorenyo; Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kiari; Minister of Education, Tahir Mamman; Minister of Interior, Saidu Al-Khali; Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf M. Tugar; Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Ali Pate; Minister of Police Affairs, Ibrahim Gaidam; Minister of State, Steel Development, Maigari Ahmadu; Minister of Steel Development, Shuaibu A. Audu; Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris; Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Latif Fagbemi; Minister of Labor and Employment, Simon B. Lalong; Minister of State Police Affairs, Iman Suleiman Ibrahim; Minister of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, Zephaniah Jisalu; Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Joseph Usev; Minister of State Agriculture and Food Security, Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi. In Abuja, Abdullahi Ajia, NTA News.
With a strong woman in the mold of Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, in the vanguard, pushing their interests, women in the country must take a cue and join in the ongoing efforts to fix Nigeria. Former First Lady Dame Patience Jonathan made this submission when she paid a solidarity visit to the current First Lady in the villa. State House correspondent Adeni Taiwo has more on these and other engagements of the First Lady.
Her visit is the first by any former First Lady to the villa since the coming of this administration. And to the delight of our host and the current First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, it came with a lot of solidarity and support.
I've come here to encourage you, to support you. We are one country, and our country must move forward.
Nigeria needs rebuilding, and to make the journey faster, women as a critical segment of the society must lend their support.
We know that my sister can carry the women along. She carried the women along when she was a governor's wife. So when she's a first lady, the sky will be her limits. She will carry us along and she will move us forward. We Nigerian women, we should come out in mass and support this government.
The First Lady was a grateful host, acknowledging the support of our guests in words and deeds.
I want to also thank her for all the support and the tips she's always given over time. So thank you so much, Your Excellency.
Earlier, she had granted audience to the executives of the National Council for Women's Societies in Nigeria, led by the national president, Hajia Lami Lau. They were in her office to explore areas of collaboration that could further promote gender rights and full empowerment of women.
And because whatever
daunting as the current challenges facing the nation are, the First Lady says all that is needed to navigate the hurdle and move the country forward is the ability and will of Nigerians to be compassionate.
Nigeria is already in the map of the world. It's just only a question of time for us to really rise up in our prosperity that God has blessed us with to show the world that Nigeria is a great country. And I believe that mothers here, that is what we do.
It has been a wet day here in the villa, but not strong enough to dampen the spirit of the women who, after having about 25% women in leadership position in the kitty, are still craving for more.
We are hopeful that this interaction today will not only be enriching, but also forge new partnership towards the actualization of gender agenda, ending all forms of bias and discrimination and violence against women and girls.
Registered in 1958 as a non-governmental organization, the Council has remained a non-partisan voice of women in the country. In the State House, Adeniyi Taiwo, NTA News.
Sapei Garki Alhaji Usman Ngakupi has called for more training and recruitment of young people into the fire service for effective fire control. Odirio Boru reports that the Royal Father made the call at a flag-off ceremony of the Fire Awareness and Sensitization Campaign organized by FCT Fire Service in Abuja.
Fire disasters have claimed lives and destroyed property in several communities in the FCT over the years. It is against this backdrop that the FCT Fire Service is carrying out fire awareness and sensitization campaign to educate the public on safety measures and how to prevent and manage fire disasters.
As we know, fire, whether natural or man-made, has been serious challenge to all, and there is nothing we can do to reduce the impact, the negative effect, other than to prepare for its coming.
Despite the fact that sensitization of this nature has been held at different times in the past, fire outbreaks still happen.
The flag-off ceremony brought district and village heads of the chiefdom to the palace of Sapei, with the traditional ruler promising to ensure that his people comply to the directives given them by the fire service department.
My prayer is that if we can kindly assist and be organizing casual training for our local people, especially the youth, if we are able to do that, it will assist tremendously so that these challenges will be enough at the board before you come.
FCT Fire Service says it will carry out similar campaigns to all the area councils. In Abuja, Odiri Ogboru, Arutere, NTA News.
The Federal Capital Territory Administration has maintained that it has the statutory mandate to train, screen, and issue certificates of fitness to food, water, and beverage handlers in the territory. Director of Public Health Department of the Health and Human Services Secretariat, Dr. Abdulrahman Sadiq, disclosed this at a media briefing in Abuja. Onuzi Yakubu tells us more.
The Public Health Department of the FCT administration says the clarification became imperative to ensure that relevant stakeholders, particularly those in the hospitality industry, are all in tune with the reality on ground, noting that training, screening and certification of all food handlers are key to curbing the outbreak of foodborne diseases.
To ensure proper control, mandate Secretary Health and Human Service Secretariat as delegated to the Director of Public Health, certify the individuals in institutions as healthy to handle food.
Meanwhile, the Director of Legal Services of the Health and Human Services Secretariat, Comfort Fasanya, disclosed that the challenge of who is responsible for the training
in our own case, our area councils are not that
society. Onoze Yakubu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine at the University of Abuja organized a public lecture on combating the spread of anthrax. Hakimat Aliyu, who is live at the event, reports that the faculty is also flagging off vaccination exercise, which is aimed at controlling the spread of zoonotic diseases.
Which affects both humans staying at the University of Abuja is rising up to health. Which affects both humans staying at the University of Abuja is rising up to health concerns.
Having confirmed the outbreak in Suleja, Niger State, which is a neighboring state to FCT, the faculty felt what to do when they see symptoms associated in response.
Singapore police arrest 10 foreigners for money laundering. This and more in just a moment.
Abuja to talk sports for your viewing pleasure. Remember, you can be a part of this #1 sporting program. Join us on the analysis, views and opinion.
Good evening, glad to have you join us.
Thanks for joining us on Weekly News Wrap.
Thank you very much for having me.
And it is on that note we welcome you to today's edition of the program.
I will celebrate creativity, lasting impressions.
There's no book stating that this is the role for men.
On the news.
Thank you very much for staying tuned. Now, plans are underway to pull down more than 500 illegal structures at Dusen Garki in Apo district of Abuja. Director, FCT Department of Development Control, Mukhtar Galadima, made this known during a meeting with Dusen Garki natives in his office. Onoze Yakubu reports.
Dutse Garki community in Apo district of Abuja, the nation of people who acquired land from the natives without getting approval from the appropriate authorities. Director of the FCT Development Control Department, Mukhtar Galadima Ogbole, reiterates that the administration will not hesitate to pull down all the contravening structures in the community. He adds that the FCT reform agenda informed the engagement with the residents of the affected community ahead of the demolition.
There are so many settlements in line, i.e. the Duse, where we just held this meeting. Now, we have a pending removal there to carry out because of a similar circumstances where individuals have come to acquire properties or land from the natives and have put up structures, thereby denying genuine allottees of these plots from taking over possession.
He further hints that officials of the department will use 2 weeks to mark the illegal structures before embarking on the full exercise.
Apart from the fact that people expand illegally, people also go ahead to build on waterways, and this is not good for the environment, especially with the rainy season. Building on these floodplains have brought a lot of flood and dumping of refuse in those floodplains have brought a lot of environmental challenges as regard flooding, and it's not good for the inhabitants.
In a passionate appeal, representative of Dutse Garki community Danjuma Fanus solicit more time to evacuate belongings before the planned demolition. Onoze Yakubu, NTA News.
Now, they exist in cities, usually to provide alternative and low-budget shelter for low-income earners. But recently, slums in the Federal Capital Territory have been fingered by security observers to pose a threat to the security architecture of the nation's capital. This is because the locations have become safe haven for criminals. Now, what measures are the authorities taking to arrest the trend? Onoze Yakubu again brings us insights.
From Durumi to Mabushe, Garki village, Gishiri and Karumajigi on the airport road, among others, are illegal structures which are counterproductive to Abuja master plan. In this form, they also serve as makeshift shelter for those who may be unable to cope with the reality of choice accommodations in Abuja. But beyond this fact, also speaks to the reality of threats these locations harbor against security of residents.
Some places here, if you go, you see a house under the bush, which a human being cannot stay there in the daytime. You go there, you see a lady's bags, you see a wallet, you see so many things there. It's happening here in Gishiri here.
People have been trying to their own best to see that when there's any new face within the domain, they give report and we intervene.
To my left is the Minister's Hill, located in Maitama, one of the highly exclusive residential locations in Nigeria's Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Now, the reality around this environment is that this highway interchange is the only boundary between Maitama to my left and Gishiri, one of the slums located in Abuja that has over time provided safe haven for suspected criminals who come in occasionally to take shelter. The proximity between Maitama and Gishiri gives credence to the reality and challenges that residents of these highbrow areas in the city are faced with. Gishiri is notorious for crime and criminality in Mabushe and environs, as residents' accounts indicate network of suspected criminal syndicates operating in the areas linked to Mpape and as far as Mararaba.
It is the responsibility of government and all relevant authority to think through and collaborate with these locals so that these criminals can actually be fished out and dealt with accordingly.
While cults and gangster syndicates hold sway armed robbery, bulldozers of the FCT administration are constantly in overdrive to some of these locations to arrest excesses, in addition to the sustained raid of such high-risk areas by Security Joint Task Force led by the FCT Police Command.
The Command SIB have been deployed. They are living among those people to gather intelligence, and we've been working on it a lot. A lot of raids have been conducted and a lot of achievements have been gotten.
The FCT administration have been on top of her game to ensure that these shanties and legal structures do not remain. And as we remove them, it helps to ensure that the city is safe.
While these reactive efforts are being put in place, residents are hopeful that the remedial measures will yield respite. In Abuja, Onotu Yakubu, NTA News.
That was actually Onotu Yakubu on slums in the FCT and not Onoze Yakubu. I apologize for that. Now, a 3-day seminar has opened in Abuja targeted at equipping persons living with disabilities with opportunities for self-reliance. Aisha Abdullahi reports that the conference was held at the School for the Blind, Jabi, Abuja.
With high spirit and enthusiasm, youth with disabilities from north-central Nigeria have come together on their first conference under one umbrella to tackle discrimination in society. Organizers of the conference say the program is an opportunity to showcase talent and to learn new skills.
People should stop discrimination against persons with disabilities because we are all human. This occasion also brings together our youth to display their talents and so many activities that can make the society to come to terms that there is ability in disability.
Chairman Planning Committee Joseph Ogaba pleaded with the federal government to consider the visually impaired and provide them with platforms to exhibit their talent. Guests at the event say they are impressed at the bold step taken by visually impaired persons, especially in the creative venture showcased at the conference.
Appeal to the federal government, ensure that our laws are implemented to the fullest, which is why, like I said, we organize this conference to actually prove to the world that we can actually exhibit our God-given potential.
They should always know who they are. That their word is more important. They should not allow anybody to tell them who they are.
Encourage the youth with visual impairment, that the presence of disability in them does not mean that they don't have future to fulfill.
With this year's theme being a chance to prove my worth, visually impaired youth and other physically challenged persons are advised to consider themselves special and work hard for self-sustenance and to contribute their quota to national development. Aisha Abdullahi, NTA News.
The Association of Professional Women Engineers of Nigeria, Abuja chapter, has again reached out to a local community in furtherance to its commemoration of the 2023 Engineering Week. Moses Kuye reports that more than 100 classroom desks and chairs were donated to the local school in Hulumi village. Details of that report will be brought to you subsequently. Let's now join our foreign desk. Hello, welcome to The Globe This Week, a foreign news segment that offers unique perspective on some stories that made headlines this week. I am Ifeanyi Ezumba. Hundreds of wildfires raging in parts of Canada's Northwest Territories have prompted officials to issue evacuation orders and declare a state of emergency as the blazes threaten the capital city of Yellowknife. The state of emergency allows for more resources to aid the more than 230 active fires charring areas across the Northwest Territories, according to Shane Thompson, the Minister of the Municipal and Community Affairs. The cities of Ndilo, Data, and Ingram Trail are also under evacuation orders. Northwest Territories officials said in a news release Wednesday, those who are unable to leave those areas by road may register for evacuation flights that will begin Thursday, officials added. Money laundering and forgery offenses in a case involving about washed properties, luxury cars, and other assets.